Right. So I've basically decided, actually, after watching Laura's tutorial, she had made that tutorial like um kind of in the early days of after this trick was discovered, and there's just some like kind of like old information that we kind of like know more about now. There's like some misinformation about like what you're doing wrong if certain things happen or things like that. And I just want it to be accurate. I'll probably link it below still because there is some useful information at least, and she does give some good examples and stuff. But I just brought up a my last couple PBs um to kind of give a couple of examples of rat on. Um, I'm actually gonna show um this was actually a second try rat. Um, so I'm gonna kind of show exactly what I went for on the first one. See how I notice I'm a little too far away there. Your general idea is that you want to be right barely in front of the rat so that when you charge, it registers you hitting the rat and you fling it forward and you want to fling it into this corner. You can get it off other like parts of the wall or off this portal frame, but generally those are harder and tend to be flukier. We generally want to try to fling it into this corner. Now, I'm gonna actually go for what I call reverse rat, which is something the idea I came up with. It basically just reverses the inputs that we initially went for. So I'm just gonna like kind of play this without much commentary here, just so you can kind of like see the general idea of what we're trying to do first. Kind of see how I try to get in the corner. I just don't get the height on that one. That wasn't a bad attempt, but I'm gonna get it second try. So we'll look at that one for. This one's a more standard one. This one, see, I'm gonna line up about like this. This is the general idea of what we want. We want to be slightly, ever so slightly off center to the left. See how I'm just off center of the rat to the left? I want to basically be just over the rat so that I'm touching it, so that when I charge, I fling it. Um, and basically, I want to tap square, and then 2 frames later, start pressing right. It's basically the same rhythm as just like a slightly slow charge glide. Basically, if you want to think about it like that. Square and then right on the D-pad. Okay? And just keep holding right. Um, Basically, this is gonna cause us to kind of like surf. We call it a rat surf. We basically surf it into the corner, and then we're both in the corner at the same time and get sent upwards. Okay? So square press and then right 2 frames later. And watch how it looks. Square, right 2 frames later. That one I actually get it off the portal frame. Like I said, you can get it off the portal frame. Now, if you do get this, if you get the surf and you do this, at this point you want to be holding down and right. Okay? At this point you want to be holding down and right on the D-pad. And it's important that it's on the D-pad because you actually do glide at a slightly like tighter angle with D-pad than you do with analog, which is important here because we want to, on the really low ones, this one was pretty low. I don't know if this would have made it if I had tried holding like down right on the analog. I probably would have not turned as much and hit up here and see how it's kind of slanted down and this is the lowest part. That's why we want to hold down right, because on these low ones we want to land right in this spot. Okay. Now, you have to be careful with landing too. Okay, see how I get a roll bounce? This is why when you land, you want to be holding X. This, uh, this whole head has really weird collision about the places that you can and cannot stand, and it takes a lot to learn it. I'm actually gonna, I'm gonna link a tutorial for Old Rat, um, which was a much more inconsistent version of this trick that I had to suffer through. This basically this new rat we can get to be I'm not sure what percentage I would give it at this point, but let's say if you're really good at this rat, you can maybe make it like 35, 40% if you get extremely good at it. Um, but with old rat, it was like 1 to 2% that it worked because it was a lot of luck and it was hard execution. Um, but yeah, so I'll link a tutorial made for that because it actually goes over some good movement on the top of this head that explains it kind of in a good way. Um, so it's still useful for that, even though we don't necessarily need to know how to do old rat anymore. Um, anyway, keep in mind uh, on the spots where you can't stand, you want to be holding X so you get the roll bounce. See, I get the roll bounce. Now I'm really aggressive here because this ends up being a 1 second PB, so I know I have to push it. But I charge out of the roll bounce because I know I can charge and jump off of this. But even that's finicky. Sometimes if you land in the exact wrong spot, you'll just slide off. But I didn't have much to lose here because if I didn't push it, I couldn't PB. This ended up being a 37:18.93, so basically 2 frames slower, and it wouldn't have been a leaderboard PB. So obviously I was pushing every little bit of movement that I could. So don't think that you have to be this aggressive with the movement. But do keep in mind that you want to be holding X when you land, because there's a lot of places on this head where it will roll bounce you. Okay? And when you roll bounce, you want to be able to uh, land on a spot where you can actually stand. And if you don't roll bounce, you're just going to slide right off and fall down, and you will be very sad. Um, let me, I think we can kind of rewind this rat again, kind of point out some more things. See how I'm kind of faced just inside the portal frame here? That's a bit far left, and that's why I actually got it off of this, but this is a general good idea. You want to like make sure to take a wideish, like see how I'm taking a wide line into the rat? I like to, this is how I like to set it up personally, is I like to like run towards right here and then roll, because I feel like taking the sharper turn sets up the camera better, and the camera is important. Okay? I like to do that then roll for the setup, but it's up to you. And keep in mind this rat isn't always in the same exact spot, and you have to adjust where to look and all of that good stuff, like depending on how far away it is and exactly how it is. And I'll go over an alternate form of this trick, I guess, for other certain positions. So this is a complicated one. This is a high level strategy, but it is the fastest thing that we can do. I guess in general, you do want to be something like that. Okay. Do I tap triangle here? Yeah, I tap triangle. I like to tap triangle because not only does it center the camera, it also kind of initiates my timing for the trick. If I tap triangle and I'm good to go, then that initiates my square and then right press timing in my brain. That helps me personally. Maybe it will help you, maybe it won't. But I started getting way more consistent with this trick after I received the tip to tap triangle before doing it. Of course, you can do it without tapping triangle, and it's faster, but you know, like you don't always have to push it that much. Sometimes you do, and you just have to accept that it'll be lower chances. But I like I said, I recommend tapping triangle. Let's kind of watch it in full motion. Watch for the triangle tap. You'll see the camera kind of zoom for a second because that's the center camera button. So see how I go to the inside, take a roll to the outside. If you prefer, you can take a wider line, but why I like to do that is because I feel like it like lets me kind of get a better look on where the rat's gonna stop, and you know I've practiced this trick tens of thousands of times at this point, so I kind of have an idea for it. Jump in, tap triangle, go. That was a really fast one. You do have to do it relatively fast because you can't wait until the rat starts moving. If the rat goes out of its idle animation, then you can no longer do the trick. You don't have to go that fast. Like I said, I was pushing it here. I had to try to go fast. So keep in mind, you do generally have a couple seconds to line it up, but you definitely don't have all day. I guess I'll also take this time to shill Composer and Oddkara's practice codes again. They have a rat code where you can freeze the rat and don't have to worry about the timing and kind of learn based off of that. So that's very useful to kind of like be able to feel out one part of the trick before you're working on just trying to do it fast. So once again, those are in the description. Highly recommend getting those. But yeah, let's look at the other one. Let's look at the other one. This was the PB before it. So right when we get off the balloon, charging jump through here, kind of take a line like this. Notice how I noticed the rat was going to be further on the right this time. Last time it was more in this area. This time it's over here. So I really kind of get over there. Now, I'm going to basically reverse all of the inputs for this. This is something I came up with and Oddkara basically labbed out to make viable. Instead of lining up left of center and tapping right, we're going to line up right of center and tap left, okay? So, see, once again, barely left of center. And we're going to actually aim more over here. And of course it varies, once again, like where exactly to aim, depending on where the rat is. The best I can tell you is that you just have to practice it a lot and feel it out. I can say that I only just recently feel like this rat is clicking for me. It maybe used to be like 5 to 10% for me, and I'm just finally starting to get better after thousands and thousands of times practicing it. So keep in mind this is a hard trick, extremely hard to get consistent. Anyway, same idea. We're gonna charge. We're gonna just tap charge, and then 2 frames later, we're gonna tap left this time. Tap left because we want to surf the rat this way and then land up on top of the portal. Let's watch it in fast motion. See how I initiated? See how I initiate with a triangle press again. I get in position, tap triangle, go. Then you charge down on top of here, and then we're gonna get onto the head from there. And of course I know the spots where you can land. That's a generally pretty safe spot, is as long as you're this high up, is landing in that area right there. And then go. Then we're in a nasty nork from there. Like I said, I'll link those other tutorials, which just keep in mind that some of the information about like I kind of just watched the first few minutes of Laura's and saw that she was like lining up the rat incorrectly, like she was too far off center, and she said that she thought that it was her timing that she was messing up then, which was just not correct. She was just lined up too far off center. But yeah, keep in mind you don't want to be far off center. You just want to be barely off center of the rat, and you know, you can reverse everything. Like the reason I do it this way on this one is because it's a lot more awkward in this scenario to like curl this rat because it's over here. The ones that I like to do on the left, it's kind of like partially feel. I see different people do it on different ones. Not a whole lot of people are doing this reverse one yet, but I suspect it'll catch on very soon. Because this does help me convert a lot. This was on a tied world record that I got this. So See, once again, I'll just re-emphasize barely off center to the right. If you're barely off center to the right, that means you tap left. If you're barely off center to the left, that means you tap right. Just if you ever get that mixed up, just like think about it as you want to get directly in front of the rat. So like if you're off center to the right, then you want to press left to get directly in front of the rat. Basically, you always want to aim towards the middle of the rat. Now, there's some weird use cases of trying to make ones that are really hard to make work. Like, in general, this is a pretty bad rat, and I did a really good job of converting this one, basically only because I knew this reverse rat. Um, there's some weirder ones, like real ones that stop really far away. If you actually hold right the entire time, uh, like I told you before, where you know like we're square pressing and then holding right all the way into the corner, right, and then holding down right as we start to go up and then glide. Um, where you hold right all the time and you'll actually get into the corner before the rat and go under it. So what we actually want to do on the super, super long ones that we try, you want to actually let go of right like a few frames early and try to stop here. And then those ones are really hard to convert, but I've gotten it by letting go of right a little bit early, and then as you go up, you have to start holding down right again. Um, but in general, like I said, there's easier ones, there's harder ones. This is one you really just have to lab out and put countless hours into. But the time save, if you want to get top level, is worth it. And it's even something that, if you are just like going into um, North Cove, or like you're gonna do tooth roll or whatever, um, like this one is still worth kind of having in your back pocket to maybe just try it once before you go into North Cove. It doesn't cost too much time. So yeah. Um, I guess that's pretty much all I got for you. Um, there's other odd instances of some other rats that can be useful, such as if like let's say you mess this up and the rat kind of like runs around to a different cycle, it can never start in a cycle that's good to do this. But if it stops in a position that's just far enough away from like this wall, or like a wall in general, that you can basically fit Spyro facing directly into the wall, like in between the rat and the wall, and just fit in. You can basically apply this in a very small area of basically just tapping square and holding right away, um, and doing it like that. But that's gonna only come into play if you see the rat move, and like you've messed this up and like not killed the rat uh when you messed it up and see it stop in a certain position. That's fairly rare, but I just figured I'd mention it because I did actually hit it in a run earlier today. So yeah, yeah. Uh, I think that's about it as far as rat goes, but I would encourage at least taking a look at the other tutorials. The old rat tutorial that I'm going to link, you don't have to worry too much about actually learning the old rat, but I do want to link it anyway because it goes over useful information as far as the Twilight Harbor head and the spots that are safe to land and how to navigate it well. Yeah, anyway, I will leave this tutorial here for now, and then I will get into the next one soon. Thank you, bye bye.